Good afternoon, Tarleton Texans. Today is November 18th, 2013, and you're watching the Texan Sports Minute with this sports guy, Trevor Peele. The weekend was full of action, with blowouts, close games, and last-minute victories. Some of the top headlines include Tarleton football falls in season finale, Texan basketball cruises through the weekend, Texan basketball perfect through 3 games, college football winners and losers, and much more. The Texan football team fell victim to number 20 University of North Alabama Saturday, 44-7, ending their regular season. It was a rough day for the Texan offense as they struggled moving the ball. Jake Finsky was pulled early for the Texans after going 2 for 10 for just 6 yards and 1 interception. Colin Strahan took over for the rest of the game at quarterback. UNA, 8-2, scored the first 17 points of the game before the Texans found the end zone. Bubba Tandy caught a 19-yard pass from Strahan for the only score for the Texans. The Lions continue to score 27 unanswered points en route to 501 total yards of offense, led by running back Lamont Thompson, rushing for 113 yards on 17 carries. Quarterback Luke Wingo completed 9 of his 14 passes for 174 yards and 2 touchdowns. Strahan finished the contest completing 8 of his 15 passes for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. Clifton Rose III led the team in receiving, pulling in just 2 catches for 58 yards. Jerome Regal led the Texans on the ground, carrying the ball 10 times for 59 yards. Right behind him was Zach Henshaw, carrying the ball 13 times for 50 yards. According to Tarleton Sports, the Tarleton State football team did not earn a bid to the 2013 NCAA Division II Football Championship playoffs. According to the NCAA.com Division II selection show that was announced Sunday afternoon, the Texans, who finished the season 7-3 overall and 5-1 in the Lone Star Conference, will now await a possible bowl berth to the Heart of Texas Bowl, which will be announced today sometime. Tarleton clinched the co-conference championship with Eastern New Mexico this season. West Texas A&M received the LSC's only bid into the playoffs, earning the number 6 seed in Super Region 4. The Buffs will travel to Indianapolis next Saturday, November 23rd, to face number 3 seeded and Great Lakes Valley Conference champions Indianapolis. The Tarleton State Texan basketball team closed out the 2013 Whataburger Tip-Off Classic with a 30-point win over Bloomfield, downing the Deacons 93-63 at Wisdom Gym in Stephenville Saturday night. Chuck Guy led the Texans for a second consecutive night, scoring a game-high 23 points and dishing out 8 assists as well. DeAndre Upchurch poured in 17 points, and Davion Carter led the squad with 8 boards in the game. All 3 players were named to the All-Tournament team following the conclusion of Saturday's contest, with Guy taking home MVP honors. Tarleton shot 56.7% from the field over the first 20 minutes of play and were led by Upchurch, 14 points at the break. Guy was right behind him with 13 points and 5 assists before heading into the locker room. Davion Carter did not score in the first half. However, he led the team with 6 rebounds and a blocked shot. BC shot just 37.5% from the field and were just 3 from 12 from downtown. Tarleton's defense stifled the Deacons throughout the majority of the second half as well, with Bloomfield finishing the contest shooting just 38.2% from the field and 18.2% from beyond the arc. BC would get back within 16 points of the Texans at the 13:41 mark of the second half, but that would prove to be the closest the Deacons would get. Tarleton finished the game shooting 51.7% from the field and a 46.2% effort from the three-point line. The Texans have now shot at least 50% from the field in its first 3 contests of the season. Tarleton remained hot at the charity stripe as well on Saturday, converting 21 of 26 free throw attempts for an 80.8% effort. The Deacons out-rebounded the Texans 18-10 on the offensive boards, but Tarleton won the overall rebounding battle 38-37. The Texans finished the game with 20 assists and 8 blocked shots, while committing just 6 turnovers in the ballgame. Tarleton will return to action again tomorrow, November 19th, with a home contest against Arlington Baptist. The Texans and Patriots are scheduled to tip off at 7 p.m. in Stephenville. Texan basketball improved to 2-0 for the tournament this weekend, finishing as the only team of the 4 teams playing to escape with an undefeated record. All 4 teams entered the weekend with no losses. Brianna Bledsoe scored a career-high 29 points Saturday night to lead Tarleton past the previously undefeated Lubbock Christian Lady Chaps in the final game of the Texan Tip-Off Classic presented by Whataburger. Bledsoe and Kathy Thomas were named to the All-Tournament team for their efforts this weekend, while Kiera Wright was named to the MVP of the tournament after averaging 19 points and 11 rebounds in the last two games. The Texans stayed in control over the majority of the second half, but Tarleton saw a 17-point second-half lead shrink down to 7 with just under 2:30 left to play in the game. A Bledsoe three-ball ended the LCU run and pushed the Tarleton lead back to double figures. The Texans led by at least 7 for the remainder of the game en route to moving to 3-0 on the young season. Bledsoe, a senior from Stephenville, had the best statistical night of her career with 29 points on 8 for 13 shooting from the floor, 3 for 4 from downtown, and a perfect 10 from 10 from the charity stripe. She also recorded 10 rebounds for her first career double-double. Kiera Wright was second on the team with 16 points, but saw her double-double streak come to an end at 16 straight games, dating back to January 19th. She finished with 8 rebounds in just 20 minutes of game time with 4 fouls. The Texans will hit the road for the first time this season for a Tuesday night matchup against Northeastern State at 6 p.m. in Tulacony, Oklahoma. Now time for the college football winners and losers. First for the winners, Duke. As evidence of how quickly things can change, with 2 games left in the regular season, Duke sits in control of the ACC Coastal Division. Better yet, the Blue Devils' 48-30 win against Miami, losers of 3 in a row, was not even a total surprise. Even if the Hurricanes are a substantially more talented team, already bowl eligible for the second year in a row, Duke can now consider the possibility of playing Florida State in early December to decide the ACC championship. Cincinnati. The Bearcats started 7-2 without playing, let alone beating, a team with a winning record. That changed Saturday when Cincinnati dismantled Rutgers on the road 52-17 to keep some pace in the American Athletic Conference race. The win might be even more important to the Bearcats' self-confidence. Cincinnati closes with games against Louisville and Houston, so beating a winning team should give this team a boost heading into the final stages of the regular season. Kansas. It had been 3 years since Kansas had last won a Big 12 game, and 4 years since KU had won a Big 12 game against an opponent currently in the conference. Since Colorado, the last Big 12 team to lose to the Jayhawks before Saturday, joined the Pac-12 in 2011. Saturday's 31-19 win against West Virginia ended Coach Charlie Weiss getting an ice bath and a good portion of the fan base storming the field. Such things happen after a 27-game conference losing streak. Now some of the losers. Texas. After starting 1-2 during non-conference play, Texas has salvaged its season by winning its first 6 games against Big 12 competition. By losing 38-13 to number 10 Oklahoma State, however, the Longhorns are a long shot to claim the league's automatic BCS bid. Perhaps the most distressing aspect of Saturday's setback was the Longhorns' own sloppiness with turnovers, penalties, and poor decisions dooming UT to a painful home loss. Virginia Tech. The Hokies' roller coaster-like season continues. It opened with a loss to Alabama, followed by a 6-game winning streak, then back-to-back losses to Duke and Boston College, followed by what seemed like a year-salvaging victory against Miami. Saturday, the Hokies dropped out of the ACC race in a 27-24 overtime loss to Maryland. After winning at least 10 games in every year from 2004 to 2011, Virginia Tech may end up with 7 wins for the second season in a row. Arizona. In the span of 2 games, Arizona has gone from neck deep in the Rose Bowl hunt to 4th place in the Pac-12 South Division. First came UCLA, which pulled away late to beat the Wildcats 31-26. Saturday's 24-17 loss at home to Washington State drops Arizona to 3-4 in league play, 3 games behind in the loss column to division leader and fierce in-state rival Arizona State. That concludes this week's winners and losers in college football. It's time to hear a word from the NL and AL MVP this year in Major League Baseball.
I'm very happy. if I could get up and dance right now, I would, but I don't have enough room to do that. So I didn't know what to expect. I just kind of said, whatever happens, happens, and just be put in this position is definitely an honor.
This is unbelievable, man. I'm so excited right now. The whole day I was so nervous, because it was a great competition outside. Trout and Davis, other guys being in the same race, help the team to win, to go to the playoff. Man, this is fun, man. Be involved in all this is great for me.
Congratulations to both those guys. According to the AP press, scoring is up slightly so far this NBA season. Scorers, however, are everywhere to be found once again. As the season enters its fourth week, there are 24 players averaging a minimum of 20 points per game, including 11 who've never averaged that many over a full season. And all this comes after a year where only 9 players averaged 20 points, the smallest number of big-time scorers since there were only 8 in 1964 to 1965. Miami forward Shane Battier thinks teams simply saw what carried the Heat and San Antonio to the NBA Finals last season and adopted some of those principles. The Heat call it pace and space, and it obviously works given that the past 2 Larry O'Brien trophies are residing in Miami. The names at the very top of the scoring list are the usual suspects, the likes of Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Kevin Love, and James Harden. Others aren't exactly surprising, such as Indiana's Paul George, Golden State's Klay Thompson, and Portland's Damian Lillard, all of whom are looking as if they'll be stars for years to come. But if surprises are what you are seeking, take a gander. Someone such as Orlando's guard Aaron Aflalo, a 7th-year player whose average has gone up every season. Or maybe Eric Bledsoe, who leads Phoenix in scoring. Bledsoe never averaged more than 8.5 points in 3 years with the Los Angeles Clippers, mainly as a reserve. He's a starter now with the Suns and is averaging 20.4 points in the early going. So pace and space aren't the only reasons for scoring surges. Sometimes opportunity just knocks. Last night, Peyton Manning walked off the field showing no trace of a limp and hardly a spot of dirt. Manning threw for 323 yards and a touchdown Sunday night and was barely touched by the Kansas City Chiefs' sack-happy defense and Denver's 27-17 victory over the NFL's last undefeated team. Manning has another big game before that, on the road against the New England Patriots in yet another showdown against Tom Brady. If the Broncos' offensive line does anywhere near as good a job in that one as it did against the Chiefs, the quarterback's ailing ankles, mummified with athletic tape after taking a beating the past couple of weeks, should be feeling much better. They were under fire last week because Peyton got hit a few times, but they've done a great job all year, said Broncos interim coach Jack Del Rio, now 2-0 while John Fox recovers from heart surgery. We knew this was going to be a game you had to play well in the trenches to have a chance. The most notable contact of the night for Manning came in the first quarter when he and Monte Ball flubbed a handoff that Chiefs linebacker Derrick Johnson scooped up. Though one touchdown pass marked a season low for Manning, it gave him 71 in his year plus with the Broncos, already tying him for third in franchise history with Jake Plummer and Brian Grease. Manning has 34 on the season and is still on pace to break the record of the man he'll face next week, Brady, and yet another big game for the Broncos. That's all the sports I have for you. Thank you for joining me today on the Texan Sports Minute, where it's always about sports and all you need to know. This has been a product of the Texan News Service. You can read up on your sports or news at texannews.net or follow me on Twitter at Texan News Sports. Special thanks to Alyssa Wynn and Sarah Gann for producing today. Have a wonderful day, Texans, and don't forget to bleed purple.